il est possible de me rejoindre. Et puis Daniel, si quelqu'un a vu Daniel, ça va être ici. Est-ce que tout le monde est en place pour que M. Bart VERMEULEN puisse prendre la parole? Pierre est là, Élie va arriver, Daniel est disponible. Très bien. Bon, écoutez, on va démarrer donc cette deuxième partie avec donc une prise de parole plus politique et puis un peu plus européenne aussi, puisque nous accueillons d'abord Bart VERMEULEN. Vous pouvez venir, s'il vous plaît, à la tribune. Vous êtes directeur adjoint à la santé au Ministère de l'Affaires sociales et de la Santé Publique en Belgique. Voilà, vous allez un peu nous parler de ce qui s'est passé en Belgique, de ce que Jean Bouillet a déjà évoqué, et qui pour un Français peut paraître quasiment miraculeux. Voilà, donc je vous laisse la parole et puis ensuite M. Petitot prendra votre suite et vous nous ferez la gentillesse ensuite de participer aussi à la table ronde pour apporter votre regard et votre expérience. Merci.
Et si vous me permettez que je fais ma présentation en anglais, sinon ça se fera, je pense, plus qu'un cas de So, dear ladies and gentlemen, before I start, I first would like to thank the organizers to organize this kind of event. I think on a very crucial and most relevant topic. I also would like to thank the organizers to offer the opportunity to present here our view on how we value innovation in Belgium and how we try to save and invest at the same time in order to ensure accessibility and sustainability of healthcare. Before I move forward, I first need to make a quite unusual display. As some of you might know, I very recently joined the cabinet of the Minister of Public Health. So it means that the work that I will be presenting here today is a major part of the former Deputy Director, Pierre Bentata, also the work of an excellent team of experts with whom I have now the pleasure, but definitely also the honor to collaborate, and also a very fruitful collaboration with our city. What do I propose to do in the upcoming 15 minutes? Well, I would like to take you on a journey through that pact of the future for the patient, starting with the question, why a pact for the patient with the pharmaceutical sector? What are the goals, what are the drivers, and then next I would like to go a little bit more into detail of the different areas of the pact, how we value innovation there from a broad perspective. And I'm looking as well to the remote control for the slide.
La petite télécommande a-t-elle disparu? Ah, ben voilà. Merci Isabelle.
So let's start with the question, why a pact for the patient with pharma? Well, I believe that pharma sciences had a very strong reputation in Belgium. Already in the 1830s, Solvay already provided a very decent scientific foundation for that. Over history, we had a number of winners of very prestigious prizes in medicine, for example, and still today we have a number of very relevant players in the industrial sector. So this makes me to say that Belgium has been at the very top of pharmaceutical innovation for over 150 years. The presence of the sector offers economic value, but also a patient value. Economic value, we have an employment, approximately 35,000 collaborators with a major focus on R&D. We have approximately 2.6 billion euro of investments in R&D in Belgium, and we also have a very strong exploitation. Now, next to that economic value, there is also a lot of patient value. And first and foremost, medicines are still a vital link in the treatment of patients. To cure, to improve quality of life. Now, next to that, every year, more than 170,000 patients in Belgium participate in clinical trials. This means that this is a very early access to innovation for those patients. And for those patients, patients' participation in clinical trials is sometimes the last hope to extend their life expectancy, to improve their quality of life and to cure. Next to that, the collaboration with the industry and with the pharma sector leverages as well the fundamental science which is present today in our universities and in our research parts. This resulted during history in the fact that Belgian pharma has developed approximately 5 of the global top 100 drugs, which is the world's highest per capita. So you see that the presence of the pharmaceutical industry in Belgium has a lot of advantages. But this means as well that we cannot be at ease. The world has become a very small place. We have globalization, we have emerging markets, so stated differently, staying at the top might be more difficult than to get there. And that's also one of the reasons why we have the pact, because we believe that the pact of the future for the patients is also an appropriate tool to further reinforce our position in the pharma landscape. Why a pact with the pharma industry? What are the drivers and what do we want to achieve? Well, let me take you back 2 years ago when the government agreement was concluded. And in the government agreement related to public health, it was stated that we want to guarantee a qualitative, payable and accessible healthcare, considering the evolving needs of the patient and preserving the principles of free choice of the patient and diagnostic and therapeutic freedom. This goal has 2 central concepts. First of all, quality. Second, sustainability. And I don't think that I need to explain for this audience here what kind of challenges we are facing when we're talking about sustainability of our social security system and more specifically of healthcare. But what is the role of medicines to achieve this goal? Well, if we translate the more general objective to medicines, it means that patients need to have access to the best medicinal care, meeting the highest quality standards. Medicines, they need to be effective, cost efficient, and patients need to have access to the most innovative therapies. Now, if we are considering that objective, it is also, or it means also in other indirect objectives for our policy. This also means that we need to think about how we can create the ideal conditions and the ideal environment so that technology and innovation can drive for patients for their benefit. It means giving the right incentives. So if we are considering this, it means that we need to strike a balance. We need to strike a balance between access for patients to innovative treatments in a sustainable way, but on the other hand, also creating the right incentives to create a favorable environment to drive innovation and to value innovation in a broad context. So this means 3 goals. We need access, we need sustainability from a budgetary point of view, and 3, it means as well that we have to do an appropriate valuation of innovation to create an favorable environment to drive innovation for the benefit of the patient. Now, how does the pact try to achieve these 3 goals? Well, the pact, it covers 5 crucial pillars in our view. First of all, there is access, there is growth and innovation, there is deontology, budgetary sustainability and predictability, and finally, working relations. And what I would like to do in the next minutes is to illustrate how we try to strike that balance in each of those pillars by highlighting a number of measures that we implement. Let's start with access. The Pact of the Future for the Patient states 4 goals related to access. First, there is support of the patient in its access to care, and we implemented a number of measures which reduce the invoice for the patients for his treatment in 2 years with approximately 50 million euros. And still, for the near future, we are planning to keep on focusing on, for example, patient support programs, also giving the advantages for pharma companies when we're talking about access. Second goal is access to innovation. We implemented very recently a measure which reduced the reimbursement procedure with approximately 1 month, and we're still planning to examine how we can reduce it further. We also implemented a measure which extends automatically the reimbursement to pediatric indications. The indications is also reimbursed for adults. We also included in the whole procedure more science, so more clinical expertise, in order to strike that balance between budgetary considerations but also the scientific approach. And as some of you might know, we also extended, for example, the reimbursement conditions for hepatitis C patients. What is still on our plate? Well, we are working on a plan to have an extension of indications, but based on the real therapeutic value and not any longer only considering volume and price issues. When I look to orphan medicines, and those of you who know a little bit better the Belgian context know that orphan medicines take a very special place in our policy. Regarding the orphan medicines, we are collaborating internationally to have a joint horizon scanning about what is in the pipeline, and to explore also the opportunities to have a joint assessment and a joint negotiation with pharma companies. This is a win-win-win situation, because first and for all, the patients have relatively easy access to orphan medicines. Second, companies, they have access to a larger geographical market, and so more patients and in a more stable way. And from a governmental perspective, we are bundling our demand and trying to drive down the cost. Looking to effective use of medicines, we are stimulating cheap prescriptions. We are stimulating competition in the post-patent market. Why? Because this is for us a very important tool to free and to liberate budgetary margin in order to invest in innovation. And in this way, government has budgetary margin, but companies and patients, they have access to the market, access to their medicines, and for companies with their whole portfolio of treatments. Regarding availability of medicines, we are working on a portal where we communicate about availability progress, and in this regard, the industry engages to provide sufficient quantity to the Belgian market, and we, from a governmental perspective, we engage to monitor whether all parties in the distribution chain are fulfilling their obligations in order to bring the treatment to the patient. So as you can see in those elements and with all the measures, we try to strike the balance. Patients have access, companies have access to the market, and also from a governmental perspective, we try to drive innovations, but in the back of our minds also the budgetary considerations. Growth and innovation, second pillar. We mentioned already that Belgium offers a favorable environment for biotech. This results, for example, in the fact that 20% of the market cap of total European biotech is located in Belgium. Also, the OECD praises Belgium as a country, as a very favorable country for biotech, because of the quality of the educational system, but also because there is a fruitful collaboration with the industry. So that's why the Pact mentions 3 goals with regard to growth and innovation. First, you want to guarantee a stable, predictable, and reliable business environment. We want to support innovation, and given globalization, we want to keep up with evolution in other countries. If we look to the business environment, Belgium offers already a large number of favorable fiscal measures. We have an exemption of payroll, withholding tax for researchers. We have the notional interest deduction. We have patent income deduction, and so on. But I think it's much harder to see what's in it here for the patient in the pillar of growth and innovation. As already mentioned, approximately 170,000 patients participate in clinical trials in Belgium. And Belgium, in this regard, has a leading role in the EU and even on the world Now, this required us as well, in order to reinforce that position, to take initiatives. For example, we are examining how further to reduce the approval time for phase 1 studies, and we will also implement a simpler and more efficient system for the evaluation of clinical trials by combining better collaboration between the Medicines Agency and all the ethics committees, but also with a one-stop contact point in Belgium for the development. With regard to clinical trials, also Belgium will launch in the near future its own publicly funded clinical trials, which will lead to recommendations to improve the efficiency in healthcare. Looking at deontology, it has been said already in the previous discussions, medicines are vital for something which is the most precious for all of us, I think, our health and our well-being. So this brings societal tension. We have medicines which are products which are commercialized by companies, but on the other hand, it's also financed by public money. So strong regulation is, I think, and I believe, logic and self-explanatory, and if we look to Belgium, they have already a very strong reputation of the regulation system. Recently also the Cabinet took the initiatives to create a maximum transparency in the sector. Every company interacts with its stakeholders, whether it is a pharmaceutical company or another company. So it means that a pharma company, they interact with healthcare professionals, they interact with patient organizations, and so on. But given the importance of medicines, I think it is quite logical that society has a very clear view on those relations between those stakeholders and the